Just doing a quick overflight of the area. Probably a stupid thing to do, actually, since I just got ambushed here. So I got a little bit too fast going over. I do want to get kind of away from that area, just doing a quick BDA. And it looks like it was just infantry right there. Didn't see any vehicles or anything, either during the mission or just then. But, yeah, another example of how you just have to be patient in the Ka-50 and not rush in. Even then, I think I was a little bit too close to those guys when I picked them up. And granted, it's difficult. You got a lot of stuff to look at, and I think next time, if I have an escort mission, I'll be... well, they were right there behind me when they started to open up. I don't know if it was me that they initially started to shoot at or not. I'll have to look at the TACVIEW on that, but... yeah, so much divided attention here of the tree lines and the villages as they come up. And there's no guarantee that there's, not something right back there looking at me right now. 2 didn't report anything off of this recon, so I don't know if they were just that well undercover or what. It looked like there were a lot of dudes there once they started to open up. So, yeah, we'll see once we get to the debrief. So, I'm coming up on the turn point, taking it back out to the right towards the farp. So, I'll talk to you in a bit. Okay, coming back out into the main valley, taking her out of route mode, and I'm just going to take her around here to the right, back to the farp. And we'll get her set down and shut down. So yeah, I'll should be back to the farp in about 5 minutes or so. So be back with you then. Okay, back with you a couple of kilometers to the farp. Let me go ahead and call inbound. It's going to be ATC Scala inbound.
252, рубеж 10, 1000.
Okay, well, I tried. I didn't get... I am almost positive that in neither of these missions I got a frequency brief for the farp. Oh well, I'm really not worried about it, so we'll take that as good as far as the meeting my commitments to the poor controller out there at the farp. As I continue to fly along, I'm just in the normal attitude hold mode, letting the radar altitude hold me in here. Actually, let me take it out of radar and put it into just a barometric hold mode. And there we go. That'll well, I said it would cut into some of the up and down. Yeah, it is. It's stabilizing at a yeah, just at the barometric altitude instead of trying to. It doesn't have that much authority to do so in the system, but it tries to keep you at least at the designated radar altitude as you're flying over broken terrain like this. Now, got a visual on the farp right out there, so. Okay, wind direction, I'll just circle around and then come back into the wind, land back on, if I can even remember which pad I was on. I think I was on this one, the one that's closest to me right here. Yeah, so I'll try to land back onto that one. Not that worried about where or how I land. Okay, so let me kick it into the flight director mode and we'll take her on in. 2, did I have you do anything? Let me go flight RTB. So that's go to, return to base. Okay, and 2, roger. Oh, there it is. It was... I was lost there for a second. I was looking... I knew the vehicles were next to it. I was looking over here, and there it is, behind the HUD and behind the glass. Yeah, I'll land on this one, the nearest one. Looks like those are the hinds. They weren't there when I took off, at least. Those are the hinds that were out there providing escort until we showed up. Okay, so let me cut into the speed, take her into a descent here. We'll get her shut down and debriefed. I'm trying to think of anything I could have done different as far as... I mean, this was the perfect loadout for this mission, just rockets and guns. The Vickers would not have done me any good here unless I could have, unless I were in a position where I were picking these guys up a lot further out than I was, and I could have, used a little bit more of a precision standoff type attack than I could have with rockets or guns. But yeah, gun with HE rounds and the rockets with the HE warheads were about right for this situation, so that worked out. Now, thinking back to the, I guess the aiming of the rockets, I don't even know if I think I was just doing it visually. I was just looking at where the rockets were impacting and adjusting off of there. I don't remember specifically using the reticle and the HUD for the rocket aim point. I could have. I'll have to go back and watch the tape. It's kind of hard to tell. And a lot of stuff started happening really, really fast. And again, I'll have to watch the tape, but I remember being very, very aware of where that lead vehicle in the convoy was and making sure that I was adjusting my fire so as not to impact near that point. How successful I was at that, I'll have to, well, frankly, I'll have to look and see once I review the tape. It was a little bit of a lot happening at one time situation. Okay, so we're just going to slowly bring it in here to my pad and set her down. 2, you beat me to the punch, didn't you? Show off. Just slid right in there like it was nothing to land this thing. Okay, so let me cut into the speed and the descent rate just a touch. Oh yeah, let me go gear down. That would help. I would have had the Ekran message right about now telling me to do so anyway, but yeah, that'd be embarrassing to to not do. Okay, so I'm just guide her on in here. And this will look, it's looking a little better than the last landing. Yeah, I landed a little bit hard. I guess I was a little bit higher than I thought when I cut the collective, but okay, I'll take that. Okay, let me go for the checklist. And we'll go to the shutdown. Okay, after clearing runway. Okay, I'll start with this. After clearing runway, ejection control is safe. Guard down. Cockpit door is desired. I'll leave it closed just for a little bit longer. I probably should have. Actually, I was kicking up dust there for a little bit as I was into the hover during the attack. I should have reached up and gone engine anti-ice dust protection to the dust position since I was kicking up dust at low level. A little bit of wear and tear on the engine, no big deal though. Okay, nav lights, tip lights, all lights. I never turned them on. I'm not going to worry about them. Okay, weapon system switch off. Okay, master arm safe. KO-41 switches off, and I've got the the SVAL shutting down and IRCM. So I'll go laser warning system and IRCM off, guard down. That's got power removed from up here. That's fine. Okay, brakes set. Collective full down. Engine idle. So idle on my two engine levers. KO-41. So if that's KO-41, what did it say? Weapon system off must just mean master arm. And I would have definitely done that before. Well, I assume that's what it means. That's what it must mean. Yeah, master arm off. I would have done that before getting to the airfield anyway. So, okay, Abris, power system off. Okay, left engine, cutoff valve, and fuel shutoff lever. So let's go. Oh yeah, cut off first on the left engine, and shut off the fuel flow. And once the left engine spools down, as you can see it doing right now, I'll do the same thing for the left engine. So I can go ahead and do that now. Left engine. And let's go fuel shut off right, off, guard down. And I can go ahead and kill the fuel pumps at this point as well. Now I need to go EEG off for right and left. Okay, and that'll clear up the shutdown. I've got my blades spooling down. I'll go rotor brake on to... I wonder if you're supposed to do that right away. It seems like that'd be a lot of wear and tear on the rotor brake if I do that when it's still moving like that. I'm probably supposed to wait until it's spooled down a little bit more to engage the rotor brake, but there we go. That's done. Okay, fuel pumps, I already got those. And I can go ahead and get my cockpit door open right now. Have a look around. Okay, fire signal switch off and fire extinguisher work, and this is just the fire detection system located up here, off, and what was the other one? It was the warning. Okay, yeah, that's off too. And I'll leave the guard up. That's, yeah, it's just guarding, guards it in the up position. I'll just leave the switch guard up when it's off. Okay, exterior lighting goes off, got it. Hydraulics transmission group and ICRAN off, so let me reach back here and get, okay, ICRAN hydraulic transpower. I wonder what, is that transmission or is that TRANS? I'm not sure exactly what that is or what that's supposed to be, whether it's transmission or what. Probably just oil and hydraulic and lube for the engine transmission system, I would imagine. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's go intercom, VHF 1 and 2, and just all the comm stuff off. Okay, data link, VHF TOK. And let's see, kill the fuel quantity indicator, and I can just go, I think that was it for what it was going to tell me to do there. Battery 1 and 2. Let me just go around real quick and get everything off that I know needs to be off. Okay, so the rest of the stuff is just running straight off the battery and the inverter. Okay, I can go off on the data link. I can go off on the PO, whatever it's called, the, let me see, navigation system. I can go off on the, at least the control right there. Okay, that just leaves me with the generators. I'm not running the generators, so I can go off on those. I'll leave the inverter up. Okay, Abris. I got all the armament switches configured earlier. Is there anything right over here? No, everything is off or in the normal position there. I've got all the stuff on the collective done, so anything up here? No, all the stuff was off. I feel like I'm missing something, but okay, I'll go ahead and go inverter off. Let's go battery 1 and 2 off, and we're done. So, okay, good mission. Good mission. I'm curious to see just exactly how that looked in the external and how effective my fires were and how much was me, how much was the convoy. I saw them shooting back at one point, so yeah, let me go to the debrief and the TACVIEW, and we'll I'll get to the bottom of it all, so I'll see you in a second. And now I'm up in TACVIEW for the debrief, and a lot of it, most of it in fact, was covered in real time, so I'll just do a quick recap right here. I've got me and my wingman up here on the farp, and I've got the two Mi-24 Hinds and the convoy down here. This is the very beginning of the mission. The Hinds are in there escorting them as we get airborne, fly up the valley, and then turn left into the escort area itself. Now, the point we got ambushed at is right here. Once we come over this little rise, you can see there's nothing there. Everything as far as the enemy is undercover. Okay, so we come up and intercept the convoy and start our escort, and this is the point where I spotted the guys right there on the edge of the town. I wish I had caught them earlier, but considering the terrain and the sight lines as I was coming around here, I don't see how I could have, unless I was up at, a medium altitude looking into the area. That, in fact, if I had this to do over again, that's the one thing I would change. I would do this from a higher altitude. I don't know why this didn't occur to me. You're always associating attack helicopter ops with being just down absolutely low into the terrain. If I had been at a higher altitude, I wouldn't have had this hill blocking my line of sight. If I was up, say, 1,000-2,000 feet above the terrain, then I would have had clear lines of sight, and I could have, a lot further out, started to scan for targets. And I think, I'll have to put this theory into practice at some point, but I think I could have picked anything up, including the enemy, a lot further out if I had done that. Now, obviously, that's not going to work if I have sort of a more contested area, like with a radar-guided SAM threat or a SAM or AAA threat where I had to use the terrain for cover more than I necessarily had to here. But yeah, that's about the only thing I would have changed. Now, we get into the engagement right here, and I kind of stopped very, very quickly. I'm lucky I had this little piece of terrain right here. I could have very easily just kept blundering into them and just been out in the open when they started to open up and to fire themselves. Now, I start to take some shots with a gun, so that worked out fairly well. I've got the lead vehicle out in front, and this lead vehicle just starts to get lit up. You can see that once it gets close enough that all the other enemy forces come out of their cover, and yeah, right there, the lead vehicle just starts to get pounded. Now, I start to make the rocket attacks. One thing that I only noticed, really, it might have just been an optical illusion as I was editing the video together, was that it sure looked like my rockets were getting awfully close to impacting the terrain. It didn't seem like that as I was in the cockpit doing it, but, just to back up a second and show you, I think it was right here where I was a little bit worried, not necessarily as I was firing them, the rockets might hit the terrain, and if they hit close enough, they could explode and take me out, which would be bad. But then again, that's why rockets and rocket warheads have fuses and arm times, so that they're designed specifically not to do that. Say, for example, I had fired the rocket and it had hit, right here, a couple, maybe 50, 70 meters out in front of me, the warhead, and I'm assuming these work the same on Russian warheads as they do on US or some types of US warheads, but the warhead would not have armed and it would have just hit and ricocheted or just hit and buried in the terrain, which would be preferable to having it hit and explode. So just nothing that I think I was doing necessarily wrong here. It's just another little thing to keep in the back of my mind as I'm employing weapons from low altitude. Make sure you don't fire into the terrain. Make sure that you have a clear line of sight. And boy, that guy really gets lit up there. I think, most of these guys are down, but we had, just still some soldiers with AK-47s in there. And I continue to, send some gun rounds in there. One other thing that I did note as it occurred to me as I was piecing everything together was that I need to make sure that I'm updating the range, and that as I slew the small targeting pod around, that I'm actually designating and trying to achieve a lock, and that's going to fire the laser and update the range. And that's very, very important when it comes to having the rounds from the gun fall on target. If you, for example, designate and lock a target at 1,000 feet, and then slew the pod over to something at 500 feet, and then keep firing without redesignating and re-updating that laser range, then the system is going to assume that you're still firing at something at 1,000 feet, and your rounds are going to more than likely fall long. So that actually might have been something that I was doing actively. I don't consciously remember it, but that's something that I will have to remember if I'm slewing the small around to shoot at different targets with the gun in a confined area. Now from there, it all just kind of played out. That was the only threat for the entire mission. So we just flew up and escorted them the rest of the way, and then flew back. So yeah, I caught the rest of it as far as comments on, well, everything else that was going on in real time during the mission. So I think that's it for the debrief. So I learned a lot out of this one. Whether the rest of the missions will be anything like this, I have no idea. But at least now I know that I can fly and employ weapons semi-effectively at the same time and make some of this stuff work at least. So I'm going to wrap this one up here, and thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope you have been enjoying this, and I'll be back next time with mission number 3. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time.